Hello and welcome to another episode of our Road to Cheltenham. Just 2 weeks out now from the festival. We are nearly there, Joel, and we've actually seen some good racing over the last couple of weeks. For all of that we speak about racing kind of quieting down, and we've seen the big guns. Racing has been competitive for the last couple of weeks, and there is plenty of racing to talk about. We're going to be reviewing Kempton. We're going to be looking forward to some of the big races and some of the handicaps. A reminder before we get going that Betfred is non-runner, no bet on all Cheltenham Festival races. So whatever we speak about today, you can have a bet, and if it doesn't run, you get your money back. Joel, there is plenty to cover. You must have enjoyed your weekend's racing, or is the peloton going back to the shop?
That's going back to the shop this weekend. You had a belter of a weekend after a couple of quiet ones. What do you have? You had Nusrat.
What else? Solo. Kitty's Light. A few went in. We got the ball rolling.
Yeah, and of course Captain Ord.
Captain Ord, yeah. Well,
yeah.
Our power. We shouldn't have jumped off the Sam Thomas train. We said it. We said the week that we wouldn't take it. We should have stuck with him.
Oh, sitting there and going, right, okay, I've got it down to Frodon, Sam Thomas's horse, and St. Calvados. And you put me on St. Calvados.
Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll talk about that when we get there. We're going to start with a horse you've already mentioned. Nusrat won the Adonis Novice Hurdle. It looks a little bit bleak for English juveniles, with Scriptwriter bombing out, Perseus Webb, Gareth Moore being beaten by Nusrat. And as we've seen previously, and as we spoke about, Nusrat has been hammered really by Lossy Mouth, Blood Destiny, and enough others of Willie's juveniles. The Triumph market looks pretty sewn up in Ireland, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I've been with Blood Destiny for a long while. You know, it's I think it's between the two. Blood Destiny, Lossy Mouth. Nusrat, there was money for it at the weekend, and even the commentator's voice, you could tell it was English British commentator, and it's another one for the Irish. and you look down that Triumph market. And I've been with Blood Destiny for a little while, and I am moving now. Second favourite, still about 11-4. It's not the big prices, the stupid prices that were around at 25s and whatever ages ago. But 11-4 on that day, it's still a bit of value against Lossy Mouth. But you've got it between the top two now. It's starting to come together.
It is. The Scriptwriter ran absolutely no race, didn't jump, still has a Triumph entry around 20-1. Would you give that horse another chance, or you think we're miles off over in England?
No, we're miles off. Trainer couldn't give an explanation for the poor run. It just jumped so badly and beaten really early on. So I'd probably not even run the horse at Cheltenham. I'd wait and see if there's something at Aintree. Probably would be a little easier and not full of Irish horses because they're all still hammered, spending the Euros back in Ireland, going after the cleaned up 27-1.
There we are. Well, something we can all agree on is the Triumph at Cheltenham will go to the Irish. It's a matter of picking which one. We've all kind of been in the Blood Destiny camp, haven't we, for a while now? So these races are really just confirming what we think. And Blood Destiny, I think now 2-1 for the Triumph. Another race we saw at the weekend, won by Rubor, Paul Nicholls, the Dovecote Novice Hurdle. This horse doesn't have an entry at the festival as yet. Probably a bit of a longer term prospect, but Mullenbeg, who was in second, and they were miles clear of third, does have a shot at the Mayor's Novice and is now 25-1 from 33s. Does that attract you, Joe?
It does a little bit. Again, we're looking at Milton Harris, so it's not the stable that we're out of form with Scriptwriter. That's a big tick for me. I know he beaten length and a half or whatever it was, and back in third that You Can Tango for Ollie Murphy. I'm not getting jiggy falling off my seat, but you look at the British one too, and you go, oh, there's not a lot between them there. I am just picking at straws now, aren't I? Here, I think 80% of my Cheltenham bets are Irish bets, and this wouldn't be a strong one. But if you got something against the Irish, there are worse bets out there for Mullenbeg. What's your thoughts? Were you impressed or?
I think that was a decent race. I think that Rubor, if you watched the race before, Cobden gave it a very cosy ride. I think Nicholls described it as a bit cheeky from him. And I wouldn't say he was miles away. I think he still had a bit in hand. And I reckon that is probably one to follow going forwards. It's obviously not, well, at this stage, it doesn't look like it's going to go run at Cheltenham, but I think the winner was decent enough. So for Mullenbeg to get close and to go a long way clear of third, deserves its shot, but Lucia tops the Mares
Yeah.
Novice Market, which we've got in our NAP treble. And if you go back to this time last year on the Sandown card, Mullenbeg was 27 lengths behind Lucia in a bumper. I know horses train on and things do change, but I don't think that form's getting turned around, if I'm honest. So Lucia, as we've said, very hard to beat in the Mares Novice. But yeah, for me, that Dovecote was a decent enough race. And, Mullenbeg deserves to shorten up for it at least. And a small each way play is not the worst idea, but I don't think we'll be getting past Lucia or even Afro a Dime in the top two in the Mares Novice for me. The Potemps qualify over at Chepstow. I was probably paying more attention to Kempton, but I've gone and watched this back. And thanks for the help. Won in an absolute canter. 7-1 from 16s for the Potemps.
Yeah. Well, it's got the right colours on it, hasn't it? It's nice to see David Pipe. He has had his best year as well. We've said this before. He's had his best year, and he's done it under the radar. I didn't watch it live over the weekend like you. I went to go and watch it back. I'm surprised it was 9-2 as well. I thought it'd be a hell of a lot shorter. Just going so easily. Mr. Bobby, my Bobby Dazzler rather was what, 6.5, 7 lengths behind in second. I was really impressed, and I do like the green and gold as well at the Cheltenham Festival. I've got 3 or 4 down marked up for handicaps. It was just I even think the jock, the trainer, were very surprised at the ease of this win at the weekend. So thanks for the help. It should be nice. Thanks for the phone call. Thanks for the tip. If you've got a good one, let us know.
Yeah, certainly be happy if you're on that day. You've got to wonder with these horses when they win like that, though, and the weights will come out tomorrow. They would have probably liked to be the second to be a little bit closer, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's always those. I mean, you've got certain jockeys who are brilliant at doing that, brilliant at just looking behind and being really cheeky. But if you've got your hard earned down on there, you're just going to say, just go and win, man. Stop this trying to win by, a closing length, because the handicapper's not stupid. But as we know, sometimes the handicapper is stupid. Some horses get dropped. And you go, what? What? Yeah, you got dropped £12 for that. You go, what? But no, yeah. If JP's not on already, I don't think he'll be getting stuck in.
Do you have a strong opinion on the Potemps?
I look. It's a John Joe horse that I saw win at Haydock one day. The Antire, is it?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think it was 16-1. He did such a tremendous job that day, and I was having a drink with John Joe afterwards, and said, really done a good job to get this to win. And he said at the time, I know you've seen him in person since. He was all about. He didn't say which race, but he said, all roads would lead to Cheltenham, and whichever race the horse went in, it'd have a tremendous shout and got a lot under the locker. I looked at this one as well. Good Time Johnny for Tony Martin. Now you're probably too young to remember like the Tony Martin days of when you used to have a row of duck eggs next to him and it'd open at 20-1. Any other trainer would open at 500-1, and you'd see it getting the money coming in and the old school. I think it's around 40-1, 50-1, something like this. It was 9th in the Albert Bartlett last year. It got absolutely smashed by 40+ lengths, but it's been one who's been in the tracker. So yeah, just to have a little play, a decent price for a very shrewd trainer. Good Time Johnny, if it does actually go. But Antire at 16-1 is a lovely little bet for me.
I agree, actually. Antire, I think the winner could come out of that race that we saw at Cheltenham. Shoot First won. It hasn't been seen since. Botock was second, probably not one to back as it's gone up £9 because that horse has raced, I think, twice since. Antire was in third, and Salvador Ziggy was in fourth. For me, those last two are of most interest. Salvador Ziggy won 4 on the trot over in Ireland before coming over here and finishing fourth. It looks a classic Gordon Elliott plot and had some decent horses behind it over in Ireland if you go back and watch a couple of those races. So I'd agree. Those three, we haven't seen any of them since racing against each other at Cheltenham. it's a little bit of a guessing game of which one's got the most talent and which is going to have the most in hand. But come the weights, you'll have a little bit more of a clue. We're going to look at the Coral Trophy. We're going to look at the handicaps, handicap hurdles, handicap chases for the festival. But before we do, our unsung heroes of the sport. I went down to John Joe O'Neill's with Matt. We've spoken to plenty of their staff members and people that do the hard graft that we often don't see on the run up to the festival. We heard from Aaron Sutherland of John Joe's, the race planning manager, who was a really interesting guy. Loads to say, and as you'll see from all these VTs, plenty of excitement on the run up to the festival.
My name is Aaron Sutherland. My role here is race planning manager, so I ride a few lots every morning, including this lad. I try and get here between 6:30 and 6:45. I pop into the office first thing to see if the head lads and the head lass have anything to report from overnight. They might see something that we need to show to the boss, and then the boss might need to show it to the vet. So then first lot pulls out about 7:30. We've 5 lots every hour after that, with last lot pulling out 11:30. And then the horses get a rest at lunchtime between 12:30 and about 3:30. And then evening stables start then from 3:30 to 5:30. It's a hard graft, let's not neglect that. But the guys and lasses on the ground here, they do a fabulous job, and they really are well looked after and groomed next to none. And you get an extra carrot and an extra scoop of feed every now and again, a little bit cheeky, but that's what we want, and we want to care for the animal really. So we're here 6 days a week riding them out, and some people are here 7 days a week every week riding them, so we're very lucky. When you ride something every day, you get that bond, and he knows my quirks and I know his quirks, and sometimes he tells me off and he'll keep me on my toes, but it's all worth it when you're working with animals like these. He's a softie.
So back in for some handicap chase action. Our Power, winner of the Coral Trophy at the weekend. We talked about David Maxwell, we talked about Harry Cobden and St Calvados. We've spoken about Sam Thomas for weeks on end, being the man to get one, well trained and bang on for a big handicap. And Our Power was just that job.
And it was given another Sam Twiston Davis absolute pearl, and this ain't going to get beat. Did I hear in the morning that Sam Thomas wasn't there? Was he at the rugby? I don't know if he was on track. I'm sure somebody said he was at the rugby instead. So I thought, oh well, that's gone, isn't it? Yeah, got it down to 3. Throwed on Our Power, and we settled on St Calvados. Is it safe to say that the horse isn't as good as we thought, and we've given David Maxwell a bit of a hard time? Because everybody was on this, you know, everyone's going like, okay, this needs a jock on, doesn't it? A professional jock. This needs a jock on. Cobden, one of the best riding. He's on here today. You said must be licking his lips.
Well, he would be.
Yeah, of course you would be. And
there was the point, wasn't there, when he was travelling well and thought, here we go, being trying to smuggle into the race. And then just didn't finish the race, He's not getting any younger, is he, St Calvados? And I think that's probably where you draw the line. Our Power, 10-1 for the Ultima. 5th in the race last year. Has only been seen twice. Will obviously got a couple of pounds, probably be racing off £5 or £6 more than when 5th last year. But as I've just mentioned, Sam Thomas is doing a seriously good job of training horses for big races.
That's what it is. Big target Sam, isn't it? He a bit like Christian Williams. You are looking at certain races and you go, we are going there. Right jockey books, and we're going to go for it. I put up Our Power last year for the Ultima really early on because it was one of my horses to follow, and I didn't think it'd live up to the hype, but obviously has done. How many pounds is he up from last year?
I'd imagine. Well, they get the weight.
We'll find out tomorrow. Yeah.
But it'd be £5 or £6 higher, probably.
Yeah. Into this one. I mean, I'm going down on Wednesday when the weights are coming out to Mark Walford's place just near York to go and chat to him about Into Overdrive, who's up £30 in in a year. But what was that horse that did it? Was it Hunt Ball that did it? 5 wins from 6 starts. They're all at northern tracks, Newcastle, Carlisle, Wetherby, whatever. And the only horse beating him in them 6 starts rather, is Lauren Preste. All right, give me two stone. But the only thing that is putting me off this Progressive horse is the fact that he's never been to Cheltenham. Does that stat about the 10 of the past 13 winners have had a run earlier in the season at Cheltenham, whether they've run well, run badly, run okay, he's never ran at Cheltenham. That would be my only concern. But I think you're getting a price because of the trainer. He's not a showbiz trainer. He's a bloody good trainer, but he's not a showbiz trainer. And the fact he's never been to Cheltenham. I'll speak to him about it on Wednesday. We'll get it up next week. But we'll see what he's got to say. He was pretty confident a few weeks ago. And there's one in here as well. I think it's the Each Way Steel, the old handicapper, T-Clipper, for fourth last year, around 25-1. I think there was some 33s around as well this morning. If you get an extended places, fourth last year, T-Clipper, doesn't really win a lot, but it's one of those solid each way bets that you're going to get a run for your money. When you think the race is over, he might run into a place for you.
Well, Enter Overdrive, market leader. So, be good to get an update on him. And like you said, he's gone up in the weights, but he's been impressive, hasn't he? I guess the question is how much weight will he carry and will his day have already been? One I like in the Ultima would be Nasalam. Only entry is the Ultima. Was badly hampered 3 out at Cheltenham in November. Stayed on really well into 6th. Garlaw was in that race, who fell and looked like winning next time out. French Dino went to the Savills Chase. Midnight River won next time out. Il Rodotto was 4th and then won next time out. I think that handicap form looks really strong. Nasalam went again to Cheltenham in a similar race over 2 miles 5 and was 3rd. I think just getting done for a little bit of speed and 3 miles could unlock this horse's true potential, and maybe having come 6th and 3rd over 2.5 or 2 mile 5 has helped keep this horse mark down a little bit, because he will be best at 3 miles in my opinion, and this is the only entry he's got, so there's no guessing games about is he going to go over 2.5 or 3, what's he going to do. This is the entry. He's got Cheltenham form. I just think he'd be better suited over slightly further, and hopefully with a decent handicap mark. So Nasalam's probably the one I'm looking at when the weights come out Tuesday in the Ultima. Couple more. It is worth talking about them as well, because especially if Nasalam's only got that one entry, you don't necessarily have to wait till the weights come out. You could back it today, and I don't think it's going to lengthen. That's where it's going. So sometimes can be worth finding one before the Tuesday. Looking at handicap hurdles, Joel, anything worth flagging up for you? Any race? Anything you got your eye on?
I mean, Coral Cup. We put up HMS Seahorse as my best bet of that weekend, and it won nicely at 15-2. He had the meeting 2 veg off in January, and then won that Navan handicap going away 15-2. This has been the target, the Coral Cup. The 25-1 is long gone for Paul Nolan. It was 4th in the Boodles last year. Look, that was a good race last year. Still can't believe I succumbed to pressure and backed Gaelic Warrior because of the hype on the day, and just got chinned by Brazil. And I was there on that day, and I've been doing really well. And I was like, okay, here we are. It's a talking horse. We've not seen it. That's the reason why. And just gets chinned. HMS Seahorse for me. I didn't back it at 25-1. I'm gutted about that. But no, Coral Cup. It's a strong fancy for me. I think the gelding operation has worked absolute wonders. And I didn't know it'd work because I think it was 3-1 in the morning, went off 15-2. And on the machine, it was a stupid price. So I didn't think they were expecting the run they got. But this is the target, Coral Cup, HMS Seahorse for me. Have you got anything around there that you're thinking?
Not in the Boodles. You mentioned Gaelic Warrior in Brazil. About Brazil last year, I think there's one that looks a little bit similar. Risk Bell, another. There we go. In the notes, it looks a similar sort of kind of plan that they've had towards the same race. And another JPO Mullins train over from France, finished behind all of these horses that we've been talking about: Lossiemouth, Comfort Zone, Zarat the Brave, Nusret, but has been just one place out of where we'd like to talk about the horses. Everyone talks about the top 3 or 4. This horse has been 5th, or maybe finished 4th the once, and the other horses in front have probably been over talked, and this one under talked. Went off favourite next time out and fell, so we didn't quite see everything you might have that day. The most eye-catching race was when Rachel rode it and was just happy to sit there, really. In my opinion. Every other horse was, every other jockey was giving it a good crack, and Rachel was, she was happy just to see the race out. Yeah. So the Magic Carrots are back. They will be. Risk Bell will be tucking in ahead of the festival. There's got to be more talent than what we've seen in this. There will be. It's obviously a very hard race to go and win, but I think if I could say confidently that we have not seen the best of this horse yet. So Risk Bell and the Boodles be hoping that tonight.
It was smashed as well from 7-1 into 5-2 last time. Oh, you say it fell. The Irish mark is 1-2-3. I can't imagine the English mark being a lot higher than that.
No, there's not rates to go off. Like, the horse fell when probably it would have run its best race, and before that, like you said, it hasn't done a whole lot.
Yeah. No, I'm really, really strong. It'd be one they coming down to it now. I think it's 12-1. Coming down to 2 weeks away. It's on my list of very strong fancies.
Yeah. One for the Boodles then that we both like. Handicap Chases. Anything to flag up by this stage? Any magic carrots?
There's no magic carrots yet. Let's have a look. County Hurdle. I was devastated that Filey Bay went up £8. How the hell that got beaten last time out at Newbury for Emmett Mullins. First time the JP Silks. I think as well the Martin Pipe, the last race of the day of the festival. Why am I keep coming back to Langadan, by the way? Why am I?
I don't think you'll be the only one.
Because it's done now again. No, I can see American Mike winning this because this horse was next coming of God, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And if you'd have told me it was going to be in the Martin Pipe, you'd have been right. All right, let's set this up for this. But I just don't think it's as good as I think. David Pipe hasn't got an entry, as far as I can see. I was having a good look this morning, and there's no entry in there. It's just the Irish. And again, we go back for the value of Tony Martin, who's got that unanswered, who we put up as a best bet of a weekend. I think it was Cheltenham in November, when it was absolutely smashed into 2-1 and won. How you thought it was a non-runner at Fairy House on Saturday, as was American Mike. One had temperature, one was coughing, and I think there's probably not a lot between the two. To be fair, American Mike and unanswered. One's not shown a lot, and one's looks like it could be showing a bit more unanswered, as around 50-1 for that race. But I keep coming back to Langadan. Let's just hope it doesn't go the same way as last year, and we have to wait till Aintree to get our money back.
Yeah, Dan has said, read into this however much you want, but he said that the horse comes good this time of year. So effectively, it's probably been trained for a festival again. Is what he's saying. To get some revenge almost on last year, or not revenge, but to make wrongs right, because that was the most well-in horse and the most talked about horse, wasn't it? So it wouldn't surprise me if they're having another crack at a festival handicap. What I'm going to put up in the plate is the Martin Brazil trained. Does it go to? Yeah, so it got an entry in the Ultima, but probably goes to the plate. Fast or Slow. Second last year in the Coral Cup, and then since has gone to the John Durkan that was won by Galloping Deschamps and nearly come last. It's gone to the Dublin Chase that was won by a gentleman to me that Blue Lord was 1-4 for and come last. It's obviously not a Grade 1 horse, but I think it's just again one that they're looking towards a festival handicap. They were just beaten in one last year in the Coral Cup. They've gone to two races that are clearly too good for it, and it's going to be really hard for the handicapper to assess where to put this horse, because he's been beaten 30 odd lengths in both, but he was never going to win those races. So we've gone and done that, and then come straight back to the festival in another handicap. So I'll be keeping my eye on Fast or Slow when the weights come out for sure, because I think they were never going there to those races to win. They were going there to come last and then come back to the festival. So that would probably be my one at the early stages for the plate. I've got one. I looked at one in the plate as well for JP. JP Sport, So Scottish in this. And the last four runs has only been beaten by one horse. And of course, that was Boot Hill,
who got beaten at the weekend.
Yes.
So I've had this anti-post behind Solo and to be all right, Gino, was it? Gino?
That's all right, Gino, yeah.
Yeah. That was third. So I thought I was on for a good thing here, but Bootle let us down at the weekend. But it's still strong in the market. So Scottish for JP, and at least one of these big handicaps is got to be won by JP in the 5th coloured hat. It will be that pink spots with green dripping on or whatever it is. It won't be the first or second string. But yeah, so Scottish still strong in the market. But the Boot Hill form let me down at the weekend.
Yeah, Boot Hill obviously was up in trip though, so you never know. Being by Boot Hill, probably an optimum trip. A reminder that Betfred is non-runner, non-runner, no bet, in fact, on all 28 Cheltenham races. That means, Joel, if you have a bet and the horse doesn't run, you get your money back. Non-runner, no bet on all Cheltenham Festival races. So you can have a bet. Any of these that we talk about, if they don't make it there or they don't run for whatever reason, money will be back in your account and reloaded for another bet. Join us on Friday. The Punter's Guide. We're looking ahead to Newbury and Kelso. We're getting into the last bits of action ahead of the festival. Joel had a blinder the week before. I had a good one last week. So hopefully we might come together now. We'll join forces if we share our notes, and we'll be on to putting some cash in the pocket ahead of Cheltenham. Be on Friday. Come Monday, it will be our last episode of the Road to Cheltenham, where we'll all be together in the studio to have a proper in-depth look at the festival with handicap weights out and all horses that we wanted to see run having ran. So see you then, just 2 weeks now from the greatest show on turf.